Hello everyone, welcome to the Mifratech. Today we are discussing the session 2 of a JavaScript. In the last session we have knowing about the introduction of the JavaScript and the JavaScript operators, JavaScript functions and JavaScript conditional statements. In this session we are knowing further about the how JavaScript works. The topic is JavaScript object. A JavaScript object is an entity having a state and behavior, properties and method. For example, car, pen, bike, chair, glass, keyboard, monitor, etc. It is an object-based language, object-oriented language. Everything is an object in JavaScript. Classes and object you can refer in the object-oriented programming. JavaScript is the template based on not class based. Here we don't create a class to get the object, but we direct create the object. There are three ways to create objects in JavaScript. One by object literal, by creating an instance of object directly using a new keyword. Another one, the same as the second one, the object constructor, by not taking an instance of an object, by using a constructor, same as using new keyword. The JavaScript object by object literal, the object, the property 1 value 1, property 2 value 2 to the n number of the property we can create. As we can see, the syntax, property and value is separated by colon. By coming to an example, we are writing in a script. Inside the script, we are taking an employee as an example, creating an object. emp is equals to id semicolon 102 comma name semicolon Sham Kumar and the salary semicolon 4 lakh. When we want to display the document dot write emp id plus emp name plus emp salary, the output has been shown. Then by creating an instance of object, by creating a new word, we can create with the new word the syntax, variable, object name and the new object. The new keyword is used to create an object. The object was the object, new object. Let's see an example. Inside the script, we are creating a variable emp is equals to new object. Emp was the new object here. Emp id 101, emp dot name Ravi Malik and emp salary. When we have come to a print statement, the document dot write emp dot id, emp plus dot name and emp salary, the similar output has been shown. By using an object constructor, here you need to create a function with arguments by using this keyword. Sorry for in the PPT has been a new keyword from this keyword. Each argument value can be assigned in the current object by using this keyword. This keyword refers to the current object. You are representing a current object, it will be represented by this. The example of creating a object by object constructor is given below. You can see a script function emp id name, the function name was calling here. When you are creating a constructor, the function with arguments must be called. The function name was emp with some of the arguments id, name and salary. This id is equals to id. The constructor has been created by this keyword. Then we are given the conditions, some conditions, or we are given the arguments here. A is equals to new emp 103 Vimal Jaiswal 30,000 and the similar output has been shown. You can work it out with this code. Next, we are moving to a JavaScript array. JavaScript array is an object that represents a collection of similar type of elements. There are the same like an objectives. Here there is an three similar way to create an construct an array in JavaScript: by array literal, by creating an instance of array directly, by array constructor, same as object. In array literal, the syntax of creating an array using array literal is given below. Variable array name is equals to value 1, 2 to n. As you can see, the value are contained with the boxes and separated by comma. Let's see an example of creating an array using a JavaScript script where variable emp Sono, Vimal and Ratan. For we are created the array. In array there has been an index 0, 1 and 2. I is equals to 0, I less than emp dot length, I plus plus. The output will be displayed by three of the names, emp names. Then JavaScript with array directly, that's a new keyword. What you have seen in an object, the same thing have to be done here, but in a similar way we are using an extra one, the for loop script, where I variable emp new array, the new instance of object has been created. Emp is 0. I have told the index to start with the 0, 1 and 2 and so to n. Arun, Varun and John. For I is equals to 0, I less than emp dot length, I plus plus. Document dot write emp I. BR refers to a break where we are displaying the output. It will not come simultaneously, it will come with the one by one break with the break. JavaScript array constructor, the JavaScript array constructor. Here you need to create an instance of array by passing arguments in the constructor so that we don't have to provide a value explicitly. The example of creating an object as here, the script where emp new array for I is equals to 0, I less than emp dot length, I plus plus. The document in the last script and the same script has been same, but we are creating a separate by separate with the index 0, 1 to emp referring to an emp 0, emp 1 and emp 2. Here we are giving an where emp new array is equals to Jai, Vijay and Smith. Next, JavaScript string. Here also there is a two ways, and the object that represent a sequence of character is called in a JavaScript string, by string literal and by string object. By string literal, the string literal is created using a double quotes. The syntax has been by string literal, the string literal is created using the double quotes. We have example, the syntax has been here where string name is equals to double quotes string value. The example, the script has been written as same, where string, this is a string literal, the printout statement was document dot write str string. By string object, using a new keyword, when we are creating a new keyword where string name, new string, hello JavaScript string, document dot write string, it will be displayed as a hello JavaScript string. JavaScript date object, in any of the project, the date object is most of all used with the JavaScript, and it is the main useful of the JavaScript also. The JavaScript date object can be used to get year, month and day. You can display a timer on the web page by the help of the JavaScript date object. You can use the different date constructors to create a date object. It provides a method to get and set day, month, year, hour, minutes and seconds. We can do a several operations, not only a date or not only a minutes. We can do all of the operations provided by the time and the date. You can use a four variant of a date constructor to create a date object: date, milliseconds, date strings, or date, year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds. Let's go to the JavaScript date example. It prints date and time both. In the script, the syntax was current date and time. Span id is equals to txt close span. Script where today is equals to new date. The creation of date has been created when the document dot get element by id text dot inner html is equals to today, because we are creating an html page. The span element, the id has been mentioned here, txt. It has been gone through the get element by id. The element was to be consumed. So document dot get element by id txt dot inner html is equals to today. The output will be today, date and time will be displayed. And the current time example, variable today, new date, today dot get hours, today dot get minutes, today dot get seconds. Here you can mention, it will be displayed as a what's the time, what's the minutes, and what's the seconds. Next, JavaScript Math. The JavaScript Math objects provides several constants and methods to perform a mathematical operation. Unlike date object, it does not have constructor. Math.sqrt, the first function is the math.sqrt, square root of function. The JavaScript math.sqrt and methods returns the square root of the given number. Square root is 17. Span id is equals to p1, close span. Script document.get element by id p1, inner element math square root math.sqrt of 17. It will be displayed as square root of 17. And the math random math power, it displays as a 3 to the power of 4. And then JavaScript number object. The JavaScript number object enables to present a numeric value. It may be integer or a floating point. JavaScript number object follows an IEEE standard to represent the floating point numbers. By the help of a number constructor, you can create a number objects in a JavaScript. Here an example, variable n is equals to new number and the value, number of a value. And you can see example here, where x is equals to 102, it is an integer value. In JavaScript, it takes an automatically data types, no need to represent it. Y is equals to 102.7, floating point value. Then z is equals to 13e4, it is an exponent value. And the output will be displayed as 130000. And new number of 16, integer value by number object. This is the way the JavaScript provides a standard. Number of 16 is the integer value by number of object. JavaScript number constant. There are some list of constants here and their description. Mean value returns the largest minimum value. Max value returns the largest maximum value. Positive infinity, overflow value, positive infinity of the overflow value, and the negative infinity, same. NaN represent a not a number value. It's not a number, it will get an error. And JavaScript number methods. There are sum of number methods. We have taken some 6 to 8, I think. There are a constant also, there are some many more constants, and we have taken a few we are taken here. Some number methods are is finite, it determines whether the given number is a finite number. Is integer, it determines whether the given value is an integer. Pass float, given string into a floating point number, it converts. And pass int, it converts into a string into an integer number. To exponential, it returns the string that represents exponential notation to the given number. To fixed, it returns the string that represents number with the exact digit after a decimal point. To precision and to string, you can see many more, you can refer. Next, JavaScript Boolean. We have discussed in the earlier session also. JavaScript Boolean, it states only two values, to true or false. You can create a Boolean object by giving a Boolean. It will, where the construct as given below, Boolean b is equals to new Boolean value, the syntax by using a constructor and using a new keyword. Here the Boolean has been created. The default value of the Boolean object is false. Example, write 10 is less than 20, it's true, and next one is 10 is less than 5, it will give false. And some of the Boolean properties where constructor and the prototype, constructor returns the reference of the Boolean function that created by a Boolean object. Prototypes enables to add properties to methods in a Boolean prototype. And Boolean methods, some are the functions and some of the Boolean methods are there: to source, to string, and to value. To source returns the source Boolean object as a string. To string converts Boolean into a string. Value of converts the type into a Boolean. Next, JavaScript BOM, the browser object model. The browser object model is used to interact with the browser. The default object of browser is window, means you can call all the functions of the window by specifying a window or directly. For example, window.alert hello is same as alert.hello. Window object, the window object represents a window in browser. An object of window is created automatically by the browser. Window is the object of the browser. It is not the object of JavaScript. It is the object of the browser. The JavaScript objects are string, array, date, etc. We can take many objects. Some of the objects are given below: alert, confirm, prompt, open, close, set out. Alert, displaying an alert box with OK button. Confirm displays a confirm dialog box with OK and cancel button. Prompt, it will display the dialog box to get the input by the user from the user. Open opens the new window. Close the current window. Set timeout performs the action after the specific time, calling a function and evaluating the expression. And thank you. We will meet up in the next session.